I'm not the house of cards that falls down easily. Oh, I'm strong enough to handle what you throw at me.
Welcome to Mental Health News Radio. I'm your host, Kristin and Walker. Just what are we going to discuss? The intimacy that is mental health. Let's continue to make it as comfortable as discussing brain health or heart health. This show has been on the air for several years, and we have amazing co-hosts. And then we created a network of podcasters on mentalhealthnewsradionetwork.com, a place where every possible facet of mental well-being can be talked about openly. My show, after several hundred interviews, the format is this: intimate, deep, funny, touching, sometimes uncomfortable, but always vulnerable conversations with interesting people. The goal is to have you, our listening family, many of you who have become my good friends, feel as though you are listening in on private conversations. Thank you for tuning in and becoming part of this amazing journey with me, and now with our network of podcasters. Just knowing this podcast might be helping any of you realize you are not alone on this journey called being a human being makes doing this podcast worth every second.
After all, we promised we'd be cordial.
Hey listeners, Kristin Walker here, and I am on with our fantastic new intern, Georgia Lundy. Hey, Georgia.
Hello there.
We are really excited because we have a new podcast on the network called H.O.L.D.F.A.S.T Radio. The person that is the host is Amanda Grieme, and we're going to find out who the heck she is, why she's doing a mental health podcast, and that she had a podcast that was extremely popular. And we'll find out why she took a break and what the name of that show was, what that name means, and all that good stuff. Amanda, that was a long but grateful welcome.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Good hello and good afternoon, and thank you so much for taking the time to have me. I'm so excited to be a part of Mental Health News Radio Network.
Thank you. Yeah, we are so excited to have you too. First of all, you have obviously a fantastic voice, but the energy that you bring to the table, I just dig it. And I know, listeners from my show will love listening, and, the other podcasters that you'll meet on the network. So tell our listeners, just tell them a little bit about yourself and about your former show.
Sure. Well, let's see, where do I begin? So my former show, was sort of a catharsis when I had a baby. My little daughter, River, who is not River Grime, by the way. I did not do that to her. I gave her husband's last name. When she was born, I thought, wow, I had kept a blog the entire time I was pregnant called Pendulum Pregnancy. And why I kept the blog is because I am mentally ill, and I'm completely cool that I am an advocate. I help people. I'm an educator. I have lived with Rapid-Cycling Bipolar Disorder for my whole existence, and I just want to give back because I've been through it, so I'm here to help others ride it out too. So I started a radio show called Dear Prudence Radio, Life Advice to Help You Cope. And the reason it was named that is because the first novel I wrote in 2009 was entitled, in quotes, Thank You, the Beatles, White Album, Dear Prudence. And it's a very cathartic novel I wrote once when I had a particularly terrible episode. And I was really out of sorts for a very long time. And I was kind of living on the corner of my parents' couch, had to leave a teaching job. Very embarrassing, but it ended up being a cathartic, it ended up being the catalyst for this cathartic expression of me and my experience through letters, hence Dear Prudence.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is I was just talking to someone else about, they want to do their own podcast and everything, so they were asking me about it. And, because you've done your own, when people they've heard of podcasts, but they don't know what they're about, and they're my age, or they're over 40. They're like, oh, well, what number do we dial in and it's live? They think radio.
Right.
And I'm like, no, this is you could do it like that if you want, but why? You can do it at your own schedule with the guests, and you can do this and that. But the biggest piece was, I was trying to, I was explaining to them, look, because they got a little bit into, oh, I'm going to make all this money. And then I laughed from the podcast.
Why?
And I mean, you can, but it takes a long time. But
yeah.
I was like, don't get in, if you're doing it for that, or you think you're going to be the next Joe Rogan, you're out, 5 shows out of the gate, then you're not doing it for the right reasons. The biggest thing, not only do you meet incredible people through having guests, but the second, even more important big thing is that you will have supercharged personal growth, especially spiritual growth, from using your voice.
Yes, you're absolutely. That is the truth. There's the reason behind my passion was I had something I had to say, and I had to say, hey, I just got through being 37, pregnant when I thought I could never have children. I have this absolutely beautiful child, River, who I am so blessed to have, and I need to share with the rest of the world. And anybody who thinks that they can't do it, that they can do it. And I shared every experience I had to get to that point.
I was going to say, as somebody who is also bipolar and rapid cycling, I truly appreciate people like you, because I've just gotten past the point in my life where it's like, my therapist finally got it through my head. I don't have to fit normally into everything.
Yes.
I can just be me.
Yes, Georgia.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's so true. And I think, I have someone else who came on, and he's had multiple ECT treatments. He's been in and out of psych wards. I think he said 32 times he's been in and out in the course of his lifetime. And he called me excited after he started doing his show. He'd never done one. He'd never even been a guest on one. And he goes, are you going to kick me off the network if I don't get a certain number of listeners? And I said, that's not how this network works. I don't care if you're helping one person and it's your mom.
Right.
And that's your only listener. Like that's how it works. Cause it's more, it's great. And you do help people, but you really help yourself. So a couple weeks later, after he'd done a few shows, he goes, oh my gosh, you are so right. This has helped me. This is helping me personally manage my depression. And I asked him why. Give me the list of the reasons why that works. He goes, well, the biggest thing is I get an amount of anxiety before I'm going to do a show. It's stressful. And that's how I am about anything in my life. But the fact that I do this anyway, that I'm excited about it, I'm more excited about it. The excitement is bigger than the anxiety, and then I get it accomplished.
That is so.
And that's a huge piece. Isn't that true?
Oh, it's so important,
Yes.
right, Georgia?
Absolutely.
The the lunacy behind the struggles. Perhaps you can relate to this as well, Georgia. Like, oh God, I have to go to a family gathering. Oh dear God. It turns into a complete spiral of falling, your mind just plays tricks on you, and it's unbelievable. And if you could push yourself through that is key. That is the release, and you will do it again.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Now, the name of your podcast, Paging Doctor, it's Freeman or Freedman?
Freedman. So that was my second.
I thought so.
Okay, so the initial podcast was Dear Prudence Radio, Life Advice to Help You Cope. And 10 years after I published that book, I had another really bizarre event in my life where I was in the middle of the night. I fell down the stairs and had a serious concussion. And we're talking, this is last year, this is 2019. And it was so bad. I had to miss teaching. It was just like off the rails. And so what did I do? I rewrote Dear Prudence because I thought, it's like a lifetime ago that I wrote that book, and that book is a different story now. It evolved into a different story. I'm a different person. I have a different way of conveying my message. I have an advocate. I'm an advocate. I do it differently. It's not about me. It's about me showing the world that you can do it too. So I rewrote the book.
Love that.
Thanks, Georgia. All right. That's cool, man. Thank you. So, yeah, so paging Dr. Freedman, that is not a nod. I gave a nod to my psychiatrist, Dr. Freedman, I'll call him to protect his name, who helped me, the one who saved my life. And the book, Dear Prudence, evolved into Paging Dr. Freedman, which is also, as you know, and I did not remember that at the time, a MASH episode.
Yeah, see, that's the first thing I thought of when I heard it, because I'm 50, so I'm like, well, wait a minute, I grew up watching MASH, and right away I was like, oh man, this is a nod to that, but I wasn't sure. I didn't want to say that and then have you be like, you don't know what you're talking about. It's something completely different. So I sort of waited, I sort of hesitated, and then we exchanged emails. But I mean, brilliant
Thank you.
naming.
Yeah, thank you. And it's all about, and Dr. Freedman is the hero, quote unquote, I think, of the story, who has his own backstory. And when I sent him the book, and I haven't seen him in years, he moved to Utah years ago and sent me to someone else. There's something about that person, that soul, who took me on in a way that nobody else did. He made me cut the BS. It's like, you know what, kid? And I wasn't a kid. You need to look at this very differently. You cannot kid a kidder. And he took me and said, stop it, back up and start over. Why are you here? You know, and in the hospital, that's what I'm talking about. So he is really, I paid homage to him. And
that's amazing.
That's fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, all right. Thank you. I'm
glad.
There
are plenty of people in the network with all kinds of different mental, health struggles. And I mean, I was diagnosed bipolar. Which one is the less severe? Bipolar 2?
Yes.
2. Yes.
Okay. So I was diagnosed bipolar 2, rapid cycler. And for whatever reason, that I wouldn't get that diagnosis now. But I've run the gamut of, trauma, PTSD, all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear that doing my own show has helped change my diagnosis to be lesser. I take less medication. No, I'm not saying that to any listeners. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a psychiatrist, any of those things. But just me personally, doing it, using my voice, being honest about what the crazy stuff I do, or, I'm putting quotes around crazy, and the just using of my voice and the connections, and then building this network has helped me be able to, manage my mental health a lot, and my mental illness a lot better, to the point now where I haven't been depressed. And, it's been quite some time, because I usually would get at least seasonal affective disorder. And this year I'm kind of wondering, I wonder if that'll even hit me. If it does, it's fine. I know what to do. I always live through it just fine. But I'm on such a good trend with this. I don't even want to put good in front of that. But anyway, you know what I'm saying, that I don't know that I even will get hit with that this year.
Isn't that liberating right there in and of itself? And if you are quote unquote hit, we're throwing quotes around like crazy. If you're hit with it, so what? You know what I mean? It's like we can do it. Like, it's not, that's the thing. Like, don't fear it. The only thing to fear is fear itself.
Yeah.
Like, don't fear it. You got to ride it out. It's like a wave.
I totally agree. I've gotten to the point when my depression hits, the depression side hits, it's like I just know that I just have to make it through. I don't need to act on any of these feelings. I just need to make it through. Use all the tools in the toolbox to make it through.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you said toolbox, Georgia, but we'll get into that later.
Oh yeah, we use that. Yeah, we use that a lot. And it's even helpful with, let's say I go and, I have too much wine, which, is an off and on issue, but I have too much wine. What's great about it for me is, because I know that means I'm going to have anxiety the next day. I know what the consequences are of making that choice. I can say, you are not going to make any decisions today. And every time you start to spiral, you're going to go, nope, you're going to go to sleep. You're going to feel better in the morning, and you'll make that decision tomorrow. And again, it's the toolbox. going,
Yes.
you did something that wasn't healthy. You know it's not healthy. There are going to be side effects of that, but I know how to handle it. I know what to do because of the toolbox.
Yeah, I love it. It is a toolbox. It's like a safety net. Like the book, this is going forward, but the book that I wrote this year, my first attempt and at a self-help book, is called H.O.L.D.F.A.S.T, Write Out Parenting with Bipolar Disorder. And it was inspired by my husband's knuckles, because he has knuckle tats that say Hold-Fast. And so when I was in a really bad state over the winter, we all know what seasonal depression is, what you were talking about. Last winter was particularly bizarre. And then it never really ended with the COVID crisis, another story. Oh my God, we're still in this endless oddity land.
Yes.
It's like bizarro world. But it truly is. Hold-Fast is I've made into an acronym. It's an acronym that helps. It has helped me vastly. And I talk about in the book, the toolbox. You have a lifeboat. And in the lifeboat, there's a toolbox. And Hold-Fast are the tools. And so just throwing that in there, a little segue.
Ooh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
So you know what you're doing. I know what I'm interviewing another podcaster, because like I'll go, oh, I was just gonna go in that direction, but I'm on with a pro. I don't have to. They just did it for me.
Oh, well, honestly, the only reason I did is you said toolbox, and it just sparked some memory. I was like, woohoo, toolbox. You said it.
There's something about when you know how to move something along with the story, but tell everybody what the acronym stands for.
Well, it's 8 steps. It's 8 steps to manage bipolar disorder, and it's also 8 steps to manage any kind of disorder. I think it's universal with mental illness, something else that I'm working on. I'm trying to write ebooks that go along with lots and lots of afflictions that Hold-Fast can help you through. So I'm going to tell you about it. Okay, so honest. H is for honest. Transparency is the key to cope. O is for open a dialogue. Explore your illness. Let's see, L. Look to your heart, not your cluttered mind. D is for discern triggers with logic for clarity. That's an important one. F in fast. F is for face anxiety, just like we were talking about. And dive in. Just do it. You have to. A is for anticipate fear. Expect, embrace, and experience it. Expect, embrace, experience. A lot of alliteration there. I didn't realize I was doing that. S is for step up. This one's tough for me. S is for step up to your family challenges, or your challenges in and of themselves. Just, you got to do it. You got to step up to them. And T is for trust. Big one. Trust the process and trust yourself. Because what if the what ifs never happened? Come on, seriously. So that's Hold-Fast. That's the essence of my method.
I love it.
I love it.
I love it.
Oh, nice. It's a beginning, guys. It's a beginning. I you know what? I laid there and I thought, am I channeling this? Where is this coming from? I was looking at Frank's knuckles. He was passed out, mouth agape, catching flies. And I was looking at his knuckles and I thought, God, good God. Like, this is the real deal. This is kind of how I do it. And I can help people by using this methodology. So
that's awesome. Tell me where you're podcasting from.
Oh, I'm podcasting from Pennsylvania. It's outside of a little itty bitty tiny town in northeastern Pennsylvania. And like I said, I'm in Bootsy's apartment. Oh, wait a minute. We didn't tell the world I'm in Bootsy's apartment. Oh, okay. Well, Bootsy's apartment. Bootsy's a very, very, very important person in my life. Not person. Well, yeah. Personified cat in my life. And Ivy, my dog, is also here with me in Bootsy's apartment. This is a big deal. Bootsy is a cat that was found on the crazy streets of Scranton, Pennsylvania, and taken in by the Awesome Pet Shelter. It's called Awesome. It's AWSUM, something like that, in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. I saw his picture last year on my birthday, and he had no hair on the side of his head, and he had no teeth, and I decided, happy birthday, I'm going to make this cat mine and give it a home and love it squeeze it and call it George.
Oh.
And so I went to the awesome place and I said, hi, I'd love to meet Dice. That was the name they had. And Dice was sponsored by a tattoo parlor in Stroudsburg. And I said, they said, I'm sorry, who? And I said, Dice, the tattoo cat. And they knew what I was talking about. And I went into this room of cats. They did such a beautiful job there with all of these cats. They had a cat house, quote unquote, not really. And they were everywhere. And I walked in and there he sat, this crowning beauty. And I said, hey, Bootsy. And I was thinking, of course, of Bootsy Collins, the funk bass player. And I was like, Bootsy, because he sort of has that flair about him. Like I could see him playing bass in the rough streets of Scranton, Pennsylvania. And I don't know, I took him home and that was history. But he is his own bird and he is fluffy. He's a big, fluffy, fabulous cat with big white feet. He's a tuxedo cat and he has no teeth, but it does not hinder his eating at all.
I love it.
This is my broadcast station. And this is here, and I have my new mic set up. So I hooked it up, and I asked Bootsy politely, Bootsy, would you mind if I hang out? And he said, absolutely not. Anytime.
Oh, if they have you as a sit down, you're going to sit for a while. They are, cats are very happy.
Oh.
I want to take you back to corner of your parents' couch before I forget. My question for you is, and the statement ahead of it is, so many times I hear people with depression, and this is me included, you have those times where you've had to, rely on your parents or friends or your spouse or whatever. And always there's this, what am I doing with my life? Why can't I, get things accomplished like other people? Blah, 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 blah. I mean, I don't say it the times I was saying that to myself, I definitely didn't say it that nicely to myself, but there is that thing of, I'm never going to be able to get stuff done. I've said I'm a loser. I'm whatever age I am, and look at what all my friends are doing. And I'm, staying with a friend or whatever it was that was going on. How have you, what's your experience that you feel comfortable sharing about that? And how do you look at that now in your life?
It's funny. I remember feeling the exact same way. And then Dear Prudence, and then again, I'll talk about paging Dr. Freedman because that came out last year. I talk about, it's a series of letters, and I talk about the embarrassment. It being 27, 28, 29, 30 is when I had the complete and utter breakdown. While I was teaching, I was hearing voices. They scared the living lights out of me. And I went to my most compassionate supervisor and I said, Stephanie, I have to leave. She said, what's the matter? I'm like, I'm hearing voices. And instead of looking at me like I was absolutely off my rocker, she said, go now. And that was it. And do you know that 2 years later, I was invited back to the school, but that's another story. She's a remarkable human being. What happened was I had my own apartment at that point, and I felt like I was really accomplishing something. I had this great teaching job. I was teaching high school in New Jersey, in northwestern New Jersey, and teaching high school English and Shakespeare and creative writing and all kinds of good stuff, all my favorite things. And I felt so great. I felt like I wasn't embarrassed anymore to contact old acquaintances or friends and say, you know what? I have a car. I have an apartment. I have a job. I'm doing it, man. I'm real
legit.
deal. I am it. I am not. I may still be out till 3 a.m. most nights, but I have it together. So and it felt great. And to fall from grace, and that's what it felt like for me at that point. It was just so harrowing, really. But my parents were so remarkable. I remember I showed up there. I was so frightened. I'm sure you can both relate to this. I was so frightened by myself, by my state of mind. I knocked on their door and they're like, what the hell are you doing here? It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I just made a beeline for their couch. And I sat in the corner and I covered myself with an Afghan. And I remember looking through the holes, the chinks in the Afghan, and seeing my parents just look at each other like, oh God, no. What's happening? So talk about a digression. But when I look back in hindsight, it was an escape. It was no, it wasn't escape. It was a new beginning for me.
Mm.
New beginning.
I so feel that. You have no idea. That is my life right now. I am slowly coming out of that. I'm finding my way, but it's been many years. I'm still dependent on my parents, who have been absolutely incredible.
No, Georgia, it's okay. It is okay.
Exactly.
I finally figured that out, and it's taken a long time of beating myself up.
Yeah, believe me, I understand, but it's all part of your process.
It's given me a safe environment to heal, to start this new transformation.
It is an awakening, Georgia, and you will grow into a much stronger soul because of it. We are, the three of us.
Absolutely.
The three of us, just talking about these things right now, opening up this dialogue. We have lived it so that we can help, because it's not, it's doable. It's doable. We're all at different stages.
That's the amazing thing.
We are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's why when I first met Georgia, and, you'd say that a lot more, Georgia, when I first met you. And then, I would say, but you didn't do nothing during this time. No. You raised a daughter. It's how you, I don't know, it's that thing with age too. Like all the stuff that I used to, my partner of 33 years that we've lived together and not over that course of time, divorced, infidelity, like we've been through everything. And I was thinking the other day, why do we do better now, even though sometimes, I'm like, get on a bus and get out of here. But for the biggest part is I'm not trying to make him live up to some societal expectation or my family's expectation of what they tell me he's supposed to be. I'm just with him. He's just him. I'm just me. We're doing the best we can. We have so much joy every day. And what's missing now, thank God, from our dynamic is we don't give a crap about all those expectations that were ridiculous and nobody could live up to. And I use the word up, meaning no one would want to. It's not like they were these great things that we just fell short of. No, they were ridiculous things.
Oh, that is so important what you just said. And I can completely relate to that right now. I have my partner, Frank. He and I have found that place too. Like it's been a total, like you said, like a roller coaster. And we have found, my quote is, I'm content with the discontent, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah,
we just were like, this is it. And we adore each other despite it all, and yeah, that is really important. I'm so glad you brought that up, Kristin. That's big.
It's so true. It's like now it's like, and what's so funny is all those people that I felt were judging me, and some of them were, but most of it was in my head, judging myself. But all of that stuff, all those people are, well, some of them I don't know anymore, but because a lot of them were toxic relationships. But the ones I do know now, they've been divorced and this and that and whatever going on in their lives. Now they come to us and go, "You guys are the beacon of how it should be." And I'm like, "What? Wow, we were the horror show that you would use as the worst example 20 years ago, and now we're these beacons of light. Like, how did that happen?"
I think
it's because you worked through it.
You got it.
Yeah.
Once again, you did not. You right, exactly, Georgia. I love that. You did. You went through it. You wrote it out.
And isn't that a metaphor for life and what depression is? It's like, it's not, people are so, not so much anymore. Thank God I've been in the mental health field, for forever, since I was, 12. I've been in and out of therapy, but the way that mental health has been destigmatized, finally we're getting there. We're better. We're not there yet, but we're so much better than it used to be. that I look at now, depression and things like that. And I love that Michelle Obama just came out and said she's been struggling with low-grade depression, because I used to say that. I used to say everybody struggles. It's not those people over there anymore. It's everybody. And that is just how the road of life is. So this thing called depression that we've put in, oh my gosh, if you have that, I feel so bad for you and I want to throat punch somebody. Don't talk to me like that. I don't need you to feel bad for me. You know, that kind of stuff doesn't happen anymore. And that is what the sea of life is. You have your ups and downs.
You got it. It's an ocean. It is a sea. It's an ocean, right? And it's unpredictable. And the tide is neither, it's in, it's out, it's ever changing. It's an ever cycling existence, just like mental illness. So that is our parallel. That is where we have to float. We got to roll with it. We got to surf it.
Yeah. I now look at long-term, and listen, I'm happy single too, because I've had my times in this 33 years where I was definitely living on my own, and I loved it. And I could easily go, I'm over this whole fantasy thing about how you're supposed to be mated. No. You need to be mated to yourself. And then, you know, and it is not a necessary part of being happy to be paired up with somebody. It just isn't. That's a fallacy as well. But I think that it's really, you know, interesting to realize those things as you get older. And then I guess what I want to ask you, Amanda, too, is how do you, people come to you and maybe they're younger than you and they go, oh, they immediately see, oh, you have this relationship or you have whatever it is, and they feel they're in that stage still of, oh, I'm less than because I'm not partnered, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. And so they put this projection onto you that you must have this thing that is missing from them. How do you respond to that with someone who's coming at you, you know, from that place that you used to be?
You know what? I'm going to go back to what you were just talking about before. It's age. So I think one of the gifts, and perhaps you can relate, both of you, I bet you can, the gifts of having mental illness, and it is a gift, is that it's the changeability. You harness this remarkable amount of creativity. It's inherent in you. And I have this thing I can do where I can project myself into the mindset without being affected by it. I've worked really hard at this. Of say, okay, so I'm 47 years old. So I can go back to the moment when I was 31 and I would wake up on a couch somewhere and have no idea how I got there, where I can go back to that time in my mind. Emotionally, it's like I feel it in every cell in my body. I know the feeling. I know the drugs. I know the drinking. I know the self-medication. I know all the goodies that go along with it and what I was doing during that time period. And I'll tell you what, I can go back to that time. So I can project myself back in time and to where they are and sort of talk through it to how I've gotten to where I am, I think so.
Nice.
Yeah,
because it's interesting, you know, you what is that called? It's old crony. I don't know what the long term of crone is, but now I'm like, I kind of like it because I don't care what it looks like anymore. Thank God.
Kristin, Georgia, just you wait. It feels so good. It is the most liberating feeling in the world, not caring what people think of you.
Oh, it is. I
already have that.
Yeah,
you got
Georgia.
it younger than us.
Good job. Georgia, I'm proud of you because...
Well, thank you.
Yes. I don't want to ask your age, but...
I'm 44.
Oh, geez. You're a little spring chicken. So you... No, exactly. It feels so good, doesn't it? So it's like if we can instill this feeling into others, or just give them the hope and give them tools for bravery to feel, just let it go. Nobody's judging you, and if they are, who cares?
Absolutely.
You know,
I'm no longer worried about what people's opinions are. I don't care about their expectations. I've tried to put my expectations of people collectively and individually, you know, in check, because I'm just going to do me and, you know, and only associate my energies with people who deserve it. I'm done with all the crap and the expectations of of what, you know, mainstream society says I have to be or have or whatever. I'm done.
Yes. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
I mean, it's the truth. It's the way to do it. I used to always look at, I had two wonderful, beautiful, incredible grandmothers and a wonderful mother too, but Edna and Kay, and they couldn't have been more different. They were 12 days apart in age, both born in 1909. One was an Shanty Irish, Hoboken born, Brooklyn raised, and all that good stuff. Edie O'Houlihan. And then my other grandmother, my paternal grandmother, was from Holland, came over on a boat to Ellis Island, and she could not have been more quiet and introspective and graceful and a little bit dark. And
what a balance.
I know. Yeah, and they were really great friends. Long story, lots of shows. We can talk about that craziness. But my mom, I enjoyed them so vastly. I would listen to the two of them talk, and I was like, how are they so comfortable in their own skin? How? And when I was 20, when I was 18, when I was 15, when I was 25, you know, they died in that range. But I was just so in awe. And I thought, God, if I could have 1 ounce of their I don't give a shit, you know, personality or traits, I would be a much happier person. And so I thank them for that, because, yeah. And I don't know where theirs came along. I think with wisdom and just growing and aging, where theirs came, that's where it came from. Who knows? Experience, but it's a good thing.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And one was as wild as a March hare, and the other sat there with her jewelry and this very pensive lipstick grin, and just beautiful and dark and mysterious. And I thought, wow, these ladies are amazing. I want to be them. How do I become them at 20? I remember thinking that. How do I become them? How do I have that glow, that inner confidence, that quiet understanding of what on earth is going on? Is it innate? Is it learned? What is it? So, you know, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I dig it. I just love that you both also can feel that as well. That's good stuff.
Absolutely.
So tell us like what your plans are for the show, why you wanted to reboot this and do some, you know, because you are doing something new.
Yeah.
But what kind of a format is it? What can people expect?
Well, what I love about radio,
I know the unexpected.
Yes, they can expect the unexpected, the contentment and discontent, like I always say. They expect the unexpected. I want it to be, one of my favorite things was in college, when I did college radio. That's when I discovered it's so much fun, because I'm really into music too. I had a couple of professors who used to say to me, you know what, Amanda, I love listening to your show. We call it Wing It Radio. It's just like completely off the cuff. And that just goes along with my personality. And I think that's also a reflection of mental illness in and of itself. It's ever changing, right? So I want the show to be a place for people to be entertained, first and foremost, to laugh at the lunacy of it all, to listen to people speak about their experiences with mental illness, perhaps with other facets of things that will improve life. I want it to be something like a listening catharsis for people. And my format will be anything goes. How's that? I would love to have guests. I will talk about
That's the best kind of show.
You got it. Hold-Fast method. I'm going to share that with the world so that they can take it and run with it and try it in their own homes and own minds and own venues.
I look forward to hearing.
Oh, cool. Thank you, Georgia. I can't wait. I'm so excited. It's time to move forward. I'm moving forward. This is the first time I've actually ventured into something other than fiction, or fiction very, very loosely based on my own experience with mental illness. So now I'm like, why am I hiding behind the guise of fiction? I'm just going to get out there and be transparent, and say, hello, this is how it goes, and this is what it looks like, and this is what you can do about it.
Yeah, that's the part where, I mean, every part of it is a creative process, which is growth. There is something about, okay, this is me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that this is me without any cover.
Mm-hmm.
This is just me, naked.
You got it.
You know, naked voice, doing my thing. I'm being me, and here are my struggles. That is where all of a sudden you put on, you know, supercharge on your growth comes from, you know, that process.
It really does. It is so healthy to talk about it. So healthy.
Well, tell our listeners, I mean, obviously you're on the network now. Anybody can go to iTunes, Spotify, you know, every possible place and find Hold Fast Radio, but tell them where they can find out more about you.
Ooh, okay. Let's see. Well, I have a website, Stratton Press website, actually. It is Stratton Press is who published Paging Dr. Freedman. And it's Amanda Grieme, author. That's AMANDA GRIEME, author, AUTHOR.com. You can find me there. Nice. And you can find some killer photographs and illustrations. I forgot to add that. Paging Dr. Freedman is full of photographs and illustrations by my very talented friends who also suffer from mental illness.
And incredible blog articles. I've read a few of them, and they were cool. Fantastic.
Oh, nice. Thank you. I appreciate you to bring that up. That's really cool. Let's see where else you can find me. I'm on Twitter. I have a new Twitter handle. My old one was Pendulum Pregnancy. That was from the blog I kept while I was pregnant for River. But now that she's almost 10, I think it's time to change it up. So it's at _Grieme. Again, GRIEME. Grime like dirt, spelled completely different. And I'm on iTunes. You can also, where else can you find me? God. Oh, Amazon, ladies and gentlemen. Go to Amazon and you can look up my books, Hold-F.A.S.T. The most recent publication is Hold-F.A.S.T, Ride Out Parenting with Bipolar Disorder. And it has a very cool picture that I took of my husband's knuckles resting on top of a coffee maker, which you'd never know from my fine editing skills. I just gave it away. Oh, wow. And that one's great. It's something I really feel, I feel really passionate about this. And I thought, you know, it's time. I got to get this out there to people. They can get out. It's a Hold-F.A.S.T method. It's 8 steps to ride out parenting with bipolar disorder. I've also written another book that's being published right now. That was a knockoff of, not a knockoff, that's not the way to put it. It's this methodology, but it's Ride Out Life with Bipolar Disorder that Stratton Press decided to publish as well. And I wanted it to be more global, if you will, something that more people can relate to, because parenting is very intimate and mental illness is very intimate. So, but it's all very, but I wanted it to be, and I also just wrote an ebook based on this called Hold-F.A.S.T, Ride Out Everyday Life with Bipolar Disorder. And it's a short version of this book for those people who like something that's a quick read, cut to the chase. I don't want to hear your backstory, lady. Just tell me how to do this. So, so that's that. And
some people are like that.
Oh my God, totally. I know they're like, I don't want to read 200 pages. What? This is ridiculous. I don't care about your college and your experience. No. So I said, okay, well, I'll break this down for you. Okay. So that is going to be available to everybody on Samcart, probably by next week. I'll let them know in my first show that I do. And, cheap too. It'll be like $9. So there I am. Cool. That's me awesome. In the ethers, here I am.
I'm so glad that you found us, that you're a part of this network.
Well, I want to say that the day I found you was a really excellent day. It was not long ago, and I was perusing and I found you, and I listened to some podcasts, and that's when I reached out to you, Kristin, and I was like, wow, this is fantastic. Yeah. Why am I not a part of it? I want to be a part of this. I want to give back, you know, so here I am.
Yeah, exactly. And
in Bootsy's apartment.
Exactly, in Bootsy's apartment. Just so listeners, so you know, this is what happens. This is how people come in. It's a totally organic process. I have never had, I tried one salesperson once because they begged to do it and they did not make any sales, which, is fine. But I was like, that told me that's not what this is. People are going to come when they come. They're going to find their way here the way they do. And everybody owns their own podcast on this network. So, because I first of all, with 80 shows, some of them doing a show a day, do you think I have time to listen to everybody's show? No way. I literally wouldn't be able to even sleep. And that's not the point. The point is it's just a collective of voices that care about this topic, which covers, everything except widget making, although you could turn widget making into a mental health thing, but
it could be a new craft.
That's what this is. Yeah, exactly. This is not a corporate conglomerate that's tied to a hospital, although we do have a couple hospitals that are on the network with their shows, but it's really just people using their voices. And it doesn't matter, if it's a hospital doing it about autism, or if it's, you, an author, mom, partnered up, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just the fact that we all have this common goal of wanting to pay it forward with what we've, from our struggles.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm so proud of what you've created, and thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Absolutely. And listeners, I want to thank you for tuning in. Georgia, thank you for being on as my ride or die for this show.
Thank you for having me.
Now, they would be fine knuckle tattoos. Ride or die. Take it, Georgia.
Yeah, exactly. Ride or die, Georgia. I got to find somewhere to put that. But listeners, thank you for tuning in.
Can I leave you with one thing?
Go ahead. Well,
no, it's very quick.
Absolutely.
So Frank is kind of a, the fact that he's had these knuckle tattoos for years and years. Now that I'm inspired by them and using them, he's changing them to, you ready? H.O.L.D.F.A.S.T is now going to be old fart. End of discussion.
Oh my, that's hysterical.
He doesn't want to be that guy. He's like, I don't want to be the one. I said, whatever, take it and run with it. So.
Fantastic. All right, listeners, thank you for tuning in. Remember, you can go to Hold-Fast Radio on mentalhealthnewsradionetwork.com or go find Hold-Fast Radio on, every favorite podcast app you have. Thanks for tuning in.
Hi, listeners. I'll make it quick. These are some really cool places that give discounts and other cool things for listeners of Mental Health News Radio Network. If you want to get amazing help with healing from narcissistic abuse, go to healfromanarcissist.com. If you want CBD products that are the best of the best, I use them myself, go to proze.com and use the code mentalhealth20, mentalhealth20. If you want to get daily perk ups that help retrain your brain to think more positively, go to perkupdaily.com. And also, just because this one's fun, snarkycandles.com. I guarantee you'll love them. Snarky with a Y, SNARKY candles.com. And don't forget, if you want to hear all the shows on the network about first responders, you can go to firstresponder.mentalhealthnetwork.com, and all of our shows that focus on narcissistic abuse, narcissisticabusehealingnetwork.com. Thanks for listening, and back to the show.
Sometimes I'm passive-aggressive, but never without good intentions. I heat up and act on my emotions.
Thanks so much for listening to Mental Health News Radio. Our podcast can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, and hundreds of other podcast apps, or you can visit our website at mentalhealthnewsradio.com. If you have a question or would like to be a guest, become a podcaster on our network, or join the amazing organizations that help keep us on the air, please email us at info@mhnrnetwork.com. Get ready for that special goodbye from our resident therapy dog, Miles, and a special thanks to Emily Sohn for letting us use her incredible song, Cordial, for our podcast music. Listen to the full song on SoundCloud at emily.sonne.
Don't be surprised when I don't hate on you. After all, we promised we'd be cordial. Sometimes in you I can fight it, but I oppose it.
Good boy.